Today I want to talk to you about my favorite photos from 2025 and why I think they're worth it. This week I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to vote on 30 of the photos that I selected so I could go in depth on why I think a photo works. Is it the composition? Are the colors making an image? And does technical stuff really even matter? I will give you my insights right here. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. So yeah, here we are behind my computer. I selected 16 photos from the 30-ish that I put on my Instagram story. And there I asked you guys if you wanted to vote on your favorites so I can put it in this episode. I could also do it about the 30 photos, but I think that would be way too long and repetitive maybe. But if you want to see an extended version, please let me know. But let's do the 16 that got the most votes out of the 30. So yeah, this is the first one, and normally I put this one together with another one from the same day or the same shoot because I think they really match well together, but they also look pretty good on their own. And on my Instagram story I wanted you guys to vote between those two, and this one came ahead by far. And that is, I think, because of the reasons why I think that this photo works really well. And the first thing that I notice is the contrast on this image. It really pops, and that's why I think a lot of people are drawn to it. If you see these branches hanging over the frame with this grayish, moody, white, misty background, that really pops, and I think it adds a lot of texture. But it also falls down like some kind of curtain. So you have all of these branches that go down the frame and you don't really know where they are coming from. Of course it's a tree, but in the frame the tree isn't visible, so that's why it's a little bit mysterious, and it hangs inside of the frame like a curtain, which is really nice, I think. And I do this a lot on my photos, or when I'm walking around and I see something like this, I tend to take the photo. Another thing on this photo which works really well in my opinion is the layering. So we have this curtain of branches. We have the foreground with these, I don't know what you call these, but these spiky things. So you have this, but then you can also see through those things, which is a layer right here. And we have a very dark layer in front. So we have 1, 2, and then 3 is the opening. Then 4 are the branches. And then you can even look further. So 5 could be the trees in the background. And 6 could be the sky, but that will make a messy image. But as you can see, there are 6 layers inside of this image, which makes it pretty interesting to look at for a longer period of time. So that's why I think it makes this image really interesting. So these images are not full resolution, just to make this video a bit easier, but this was shot on the Hasselblad with some triax at box speed, so yeah, plenty of sharpness, a little bit of movement from the wind in these spiky things, and yeah, I just love this image, and it really works well printed too. So the next one, this is a little less complex as the one before, but what I like about this image is the genuine smile on her face and the light. And the pose, of course, too. But this was a moment during our shoot where we had these poses, and between those poses we had this moment, and I just had to fire off a shot. And we also had some beautiful daylight that was coming through those windows that made something very interesting for the backdrop, but also the light on her face just worked perfectly. So this shot was with only daylight in the studio, and I think it worked out pretty well. So nothing too complex about this image. I just love it. It has a lot of energy, and that's why I think it works really well. This one is really interesting to me because this was shot at the celebration of our football team who won the championship, and these kids just lined up so well that I had to take the shot. And this is all in split seconds because yeah, there are so many things moving around and happening at the same time. I've got a full episode about this day, so if you're interested in that, definitely go check that out. But what I like about this photo is the composition. The composition does everything here. Of course, it's cute to see kids on top of their dad's shoulders, but the composition does everything here. So we have this little girl, which is the main focus of the image, looking that way. And we have this girl looking that way, which is interesting in the frame because she's bigger in the frame. She's a little bit smaller. Both have these ice creams, which is a repetitive thing. Red shirt. And then we have on the side a girl with a blue shirt watching this way. And on the other side, we have a girl in a blue shirt watching this way. So as you can see, we have a lot of things that make the composition very nice, and the repetitive things in the image make it just complete. I think the moment is pretty cool, but the composition is what makes it a really good image in my opinion. And because of that composition, I think it has a really nice flow in the image. The next one is from the same day, and here you can see the same thing happening with the repetitive stuff. So we have this arm right here, which is the same as the arm right here. This light, this torch works really well. And of course in this image, the colors, the ambiance or the smoke, the light, everything just works. And that's why I think this image is great. It's also a really strange perspective because I'm pretty low and I'm really close to them. So that's a strange perspective, but that's why I was able to have all this negative space in the background with all the smoke and the colors. So what I do like the most about this image is of course the moment, but also the colors going from blue in the top left corner to dark red, magenta in the bottom right. I think it's just a beautiful gradient. And of course the moment with the torches and all of the smoke. Yeah, it's just one of my favorite images from the year for sure. And the third one is also from the same day. So 3 images of the same day made it in my top of 2025. And the reason for this one to be one of my favorites is just because of the moment, the colors, the things are, a lot of things are happening in this image. And I think it's just working. Not really any specific things to say about this image. It just has a vibe, and sometimes that's all you need for a photo. So the next couple of images are from the fair that I've shot during the summer of this year. And that project is coming really soon, so stay tuned for that. But a lot of work goes into that. But definitely some of my favorite images for sure. And if you didn't know, I shot this fair for 10 days, 10 hours a day. So a big project, so make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you don't miss out on that. Coming very soon, so stay tuned. So those 10 days were focused on street photography and capturing a lot of people at the fair. And this image isn't really that, but it does show the fair, of course, but also the colors and a lot of the vibe that was at the fair. So that's why I chose this image to be, of course, inside of the project, but also one of my favorites. So what I do think that really works in this image are the colors, of course. Some repetitive things in the image, but mostly the colors, the sky that's not completely black. The lights are just stunning. And even though the composition isn't as perfect as I might have wanted, because these persons I wish they weren't in the frame, but it was a pretty busy day, so there was no moment where there weren't people walking inside of the frame. But maybe it was more interesting if this part was filled too. No, it wasn't, because I do like all of these people here. So if this person wasn't here, it would be composition-wise a little bit better, but nevertheless one of my favorite photos from this year. But again, with this photo, sometimes colors and just the vibe works, and you don't have to have any other technical stuff to make an image work. So a lot of you voted for this photo, and I can see why, of course, because it's also one of my favorites. And what works in this is the composition, of course, the selection of colors in this image, and yeah, just the people. So the main focus of this image is this woman, of course, but after that the composition will lead your eye towards this part of the image, because we have this V shape between this pink shirt and the woman, and your eye will lead towards these persons right here, and what's the story right there. So that's why you'll look at this image for longer than just only the focus point, which is this woman in this case. And that makes this image stand out for me. So this photo got a lot of votes too, and I think it's because it's just a strange scene to look at. We have all of these colors in the background, but then we have 4 persons walking towards me, all dressed in dark colors, in black, looking really tough. And this person in the front is holding this big Stitch stuffed animal, but still looking really tough into the camera, and also the person behind him. It's a strange scene, and I think that's why it's working and why it's so interesting. Composition-wise, this photo isn't really strong at all, but I think because of the story in this photo, I think it works really well. The next one is a classic in my opinion. Of course, the colors look really well, and we have this single person standing in front of these slots, or whatever you want to call it, and it seems like everything else is happening over there, but this person has only interest for the things happening in these slots. So I think that's why this image works. And of course the colors, the black tones on the sides, it's just a classic image that works really well. This one is my favorite, or at least one of my favorites from the New York trip. Everything in this image just works for me. And of course we have this focal point, that is this man in this gray suit walking by this trash can, and the one way pointing over there. We have this person walking towards there, and this person walking towards there, which makes things flow really good in the image. And of course we have the repetitive things like yellow here, and all of these blocks all over the image. And we have the layers, so the foreground, we have the sidewalk, and the rest of this image is this building. And we have this space over here which doesn't close the image. You have a little bit more depth in the image, but also more room for a story. And that's why I think this image works really well. Also the colors I think are interesting and beautiful. The yellow colors are coming back everywhere, like here in the logo, but even right here in the menu, everywhere is this yellow tone, and I think that works really well. Also this empty trash can is pretty interesting to me. So that's why I think this image works so well. By the way, some of these photos made it into the print shop. So if you're looking for something on your wall, or if you just want to support me in the channel, great place to do it. Link is in the description down below. The next one, and I think all of the other ones are from the New York trip, because I think I shot a lot of great things there, and I'm very excited about those. But this one has been on the background or the wallpaper of my computer for well, since I scanned all these images. So yeah, I love this image. I remember the moment where I stood on this bridge and waited for school bus or taxi to drive into the frame. But then this NYPD, this police car, came into the frame, and that was even better than what I was hoping for. So this works really well. I think the moment is just great. Also, of course, the sky is beautiful. It's twilight, golden hour. And here again, we have the layers of this image. So the front part, the river, and then the bridge and the sky, which makes the image flow really well top to bottom. And we have in each layer, we have something interesting. So for me, my eye goes to the cop car in front, but then you can look a little bit further and you see the bridge, of course, which is beautiful. And then we have this beautiful sky with just the right amount of clouds. And this photo was taken at the right time, at twilight, where the sun was going down in our backs. And yeah, it just looks so stunning to me with the blue colors, with the car. Yeah, that's why I just love this image. This one I included because it tells a little bit of a story. We have this iPhone 17 Pro, which is the top of the bill, the newest thing out there, and pretty luxury product, of course. And then we have, almost in the same color, an abandoned, burned out truck, and just left there to be, yeah, whatever they want to do with it, but just left out there, burned out, destroyed. I think the contrast between those things in the same frame that have almost the same colors works so well, and that's why I took this shot. So this image is definitely also one of my favorites from the New York trip, and that's because, of course, it's the One World Trade Center and it has such an impactful story around it. But I wanted to capture this building in a different way than just a normal photo of this beautiful building. And that's why when I looked up through these branches and these leaves, I thought this is the perfect shot, because it's not totally clear immediately that this is the One World Trade Center. For a lot of people it is, of course, but not for everybody. And I think the colors work so well. So you have this blue from the sky coming through those clouds, and then the orange leaves, which could tell a story too. That's up to the interpretation of the person looking at it, of course. But in my opinion, this image could tell a lot. And in this image, a lot of leading lines, which work really well. So we have these lines going that way. Sorry for my bad Photoshop skills when drawing, but Jesus. We have these leading lines all over the frame, repetitive, and that works so well. And of course, we have the sun that's just perfect. But all of those leading lines will draw you towards this person, which is sitting alone on his chair outside of this massive building. And this person also gives you a sense of skill. What I also like about this image is this part right here, which is this orange, really industrial looking door, I think. And it contrasts really well with these blue panels. So yeah, that's why I love this image. It's a really clean image, and I think it works pretty well. This one, again, is one of the photos that you voted for a lot. And I think it's just because everything works in this image. The colors work, the sky is beautiful and calm and creamy almost. The reflection on this building is pretty interesting, of course, because that's not happening all the time in our lives. And yeah, I think that's just stunning. And what makes it interesting are all of these lines from the bridge, which makes it not just a simple photo of this building, but more interesting maybe. And I think that's why it just works and why it's so beautiful to look at. The sky is really beautiful, and of course the building reflecting makes it a really good focal point with the bridges. And yeah, I think this image is stunning, and sometimes it just clicks. So this one I took the trip before New York City when we went to Curacao with our friends, and I think this image works so well because of the blue colors. the sense of depth in this image, because also when I was taking this photo, I was standing on the edge of the island and looking into the ocean, and that's something I really love to do. Just stare away, think about things, and I think you can do this too with this image. But I think in this image the colors look so good, going from this really light blue to a darker blue to white and blues in the sky, and I think it works out really well. It's almost abstract in that way, with all the waves and the simplicity of colors, and that's why I think it works. And even though it's a simple image, it's just a photo of the ocean, there's so much detail in the waves and in the sky that you can look at it for a long time. Well, that is if you like to stare into the ocean just like me. So those are part of my favorite photos from 2025 and why I think they're worth it. It's always a good thing to look at your photos and explain to yourself why you like it, because that way you can use that when you're out and taking new photos. I hope this was helpful in any way, and if you guys want to know more about composition or framing, please let me know in the comments down below and I might make an episode about it. For now, thanks for watching and I'll see you next week. Peace!